Premium pairs, pocket jacks and pocket tens. Time and again I watch pocket jacks being misplayed. Afterwards, many people say, I hate pocket jacks. What is interesting is that pocket tens aren't much less in value than pocket jacks, yet I never hear complaints about them. Although many players overplay them, like pocket jacks, they seem to be able to get away from them mentally and emotionally. That doesn't seem to be the case with pocket jacks. Note, although this discussion will focus primarily on pocket jacks, similar tactics can be used with pocket tens. The conflict with pocket jacks. Pocket jacks are one of the most overplayed hands in the deck. I consistently see overbets of 5 or more times the big blind when players have pocket jacks. Some players go all in and just take down the blinds. Occasionally, they run into a hand that is equal or greater than the pocket jacks. It gets ugly at times. This type of play is extremely risky and shows poor math knowledge. Many players lose a lot of chips or bust out by overplaying pocket jacks. Pocket jacks are a premium hand and played correctly can do well over time. This begs the question, why would anyone risk their entire stack just to take down the blinds with pocket jacks, especially when the blinds are relatively insignificant at times? Observations and conversations with players who overplay pocket jacks provides consistent answers. Many players simply don't know how to play pocket jacks properly. Because players know that pocket jacks are a premium hand, there's an internal pressure to play them forcefully. The conflict is that players also know the hand is vulnerable. This internal conflict short-circuits the rational and emotional judgment of many players, especially the ones who don't know the math. They can't resolve this conflict and play pocket jacks badly. This is absolutely fascinating. Let's review the probability of an ace, king, or queen hitting the flop when you have pocket jacks and one ace, one king, and one queen were dealt to 3 other players at a 9-player table. With 34, 52 minus 16 cards remaining in the deck, there are 9 cards, 3 aces, 3 kings, and 3 queens that can hurt you if 3 other players were dealt those cards. Thus, 34 minus 9 equals 25 cards that can't hurt you. 25 divided by 34 cards won't help another player get an ace, king, or queen on the first card that hits the flop. Subtract 1 from the numerator and denominator for each subsequent card. Multiply the percentages together. Subtract that number from 1, 100%, to get the probability of an ace, king, or queen hitting the flop. 1 minus 25 divided by 34 times 24 divided by 33 times 23 divided by 32 equals 62%. Consequently, 62% of the time, an ace, king, or queen will hit the flop that will potentially make another player's hand better than your pocket jacks when one ace, one king, and one queen were dealt to 3 other players. Notes: I say potentially because one or more players may have folded an ace, king, or queen before the flop. This is a key reason why betting before the flop is important with pocket jacks to try to get the other players with a king, queen, or ace with a weak kicker to fold. If there are no aces, kings, or queens in other players' hands, the percentage of scare cards that can hit the flop will be 12% higher. The danger for pocket jacks isn't over after the flop. There's a significant probability of a scare ace, king, or queen hitting on the turn or river when one ace, one king, and one queen have been dealt to 3 other players. There is a 9 over 31 equals 29% probability of an ace, king, or queen hitting on the turn. This assumes no ace, king, or queen hit on the flop. There is a 9 over 30 equals 30% probability of an ace, king, or queen hitting on the river. This assumes no ace, king, or queen hit on the flop or on the turn. This means that almost 1 out of 3 times an ace, king, or queen will hit on the turn or river card. There is a 1 minus 22 divided by 31 times 21 divided by 30 equals 50% probability of an ace, king, or queen hitting if you will see both the turn and river cards. This assumes no ace, king, or queen hit on the flop. Note, these three examples after the flop assume an ace, king, and queen have been dealt to three other players. Two more key points. Let's not forget the potential for straight draws, flush draws, two pairs, sets, and more against pocket jacks after the flop. On the other hand, there's a 12% probability you will hit a set on the flop with pocket jacks, just like any other pocket pair. This is an excellent hand in which you may be able to take down a huge pot. As can be seen by the numbers, pocket jacks are strong and weak simultaneously. Players have good reason to be concerned if they don't play their pocket jacks correctly. Betting with pocket jacks. Betting with pocket jacks is a lot like betting with pocket queens with a few exceptions. In early and middle positions before the flop, here are some options. Raise. If you're first to open the pot, this makes sense. Bet to try to eliminate limpers. You might only take down the blinds, although that may be a good outcome. If a scare card or two hits the flop, check and see what other players do. If another player bets, decide on whether you should call or fold. Also be concerned about straight draws, flush draws, two pairs, set, etc. For the turn and river cards, play like you play after the flop. Calling a raise. There is probably enough money in the pot already. Re-raising usually isn't a good move since pocket jacks aren't that strong. Calling disguises your hand well, and yes, it is clever. If the flop doesn't have an ace, king, or queen, you might be able to take down a decent-sized pot, especially if someone gets top pair on the flop lower than your pocket jacks with a good or great kicker. In late position, your options are like the early and middle position with a couple more choices. Raise. If you are first to act in late position, consider raising enough to take down the blinds, or bet and try to keep the big and or small blind in the hand. If a scare card hits the flop, observe what other players do and make your decision on whether you should call, bet, or fold. If no scare cards hit the flop, size your bet to give you options. Consider a 1/3 to 1/2 pot size bet depending upon the wetness of the board. The wetter the board, the more conservative the bet should probably be. There are too many scare cards that may show up on the turn. You want to try and win, but not call off too many of your chips if a player gets a higher pair or an improvement card on the turn or the river. For the turn and river cards, play similar to your play after the flop. Calling a raise. There is probably enough money in the pot already. Re-raising may not be a good move. As earlier discussed, calling disguises your hand well. If it is a relatively dry flop with no ace, king, or queen, then you might be able to take down a good-sized pot, especially if someone gets top pair on the flop that is lower than your pocket jacks with a good or great kicker. If no ace or king or queen hits the flop and another player bets, call or fold according to your read on the other player. Play the turn and river cards similar to the flop.